director of NMDC and my service colleague Shri Bajendra Kumar ji, all the directors here and other officers of NMDC, young students, the teachers and friends. It's normal to say that I am very happy to be in a function, wherever you are called. So I am not being formal today. I am really happy to be here today for many reasons. I have attended many of these vigilance weeks. As somebody has said, I don't know how many people celebrate or conduct the vigilance week on their own. It is because of a directive from the Vigilance Commissioner and you have to do it. So every year this is being done for the last 10 years. And Hyderabad has got many public sector undertakings. So somebody or the other calls me for these meetings, having been the Home Secretary earlier. So please come and speak here. So I go there. But I must tell you in all honesty, what I have seen today is something totally different. In the sense all the directors have participated here. All the directors have participated here. And it's not just some useless comments they have made. They made valid points in their own way. Each one, some complaints about vigilance, some improvements to be done and all those things. But they had thought over the matter. They had thought over the matter and they expressed their wisdom. And I also congratulate the vigilance chief here, Mr. Vidyasagar, for having brought all of them together and having organized this one. So I really am grateful and I am happy to be here. Now, in particular, I am most grateful to the CMD, Shri Bajendra Kumar, for the very kind words he has used about me. Yes, I tried to do my best, whatever is possible. I wanted to deliver my speech and then refer to some of the points made by these gentlemen here. But one point I want to take up at this time itself. One of the gentlemen, I don't know who, he has said, there's too much of vigilance, there is a fear, and what happens, would I get involved in this and all that. I just wanted to mention that I served the government of India for 49 continuous years. I don't think there is anyone who has served for 49 years continuously without even one day's break. But let me tell you, I worked in so many departments. I never knew that there was a vigilance wing in that department. I never knew who was the vigilance officer. I never bothered. It never occurred to me that there is something called a vigilance and then they would do certain things. Maybe you would say I am very lucky, but what I would say is every man is his own vigilance officer. That is what it should be. There is no need for vigilance is not something which would come from outside, external and internal, somebody has said. No, it has to come from inside. Now tell me, who told Mr. Seshan not to be corrupt? Who told Abdul Kalam not to be corrupt? Who told Sridharan not to be corrupt? Or who told Kurian, the milkman of India, to be what he is? I tell you, this comes from internal, this one, not because someone has said, not because there is a vigilance wing sitting there and all that. And somebody mentioned about the role of the teachers and the parents. Society plays a great role. And then, upbringing is there. But about NMDC itself, I am aware that you are one of the very rich Maharatnas and you earn about over 8,000 crores a year, and then you have about 5,600 people. You have 25% share of the iron ore market in this country and all that, and you operate in very remote areas. So hats off to you for having done all that. But two specific points I wanted to highlight from your papers I had gone through. You adopted what is called the Business Responsibility Policy and the National Voluntary Guidelines issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which comprises of 9 principles. The first principle in those 9 is that you should conduct yourself, you should conduct and govern yourself, that means NMDC, with ethics, transparency and accountability. So out of the 9 principles, this is one of the principles. second one I wanted to highlight is, you also support the UN Global Compact with its 10 principles, one of which is again anti-corruption. So it's not that you are not aware of it. So they are there. You have signed integrity pacts. You are one of the first ones to have signed, and almost 90% of your business is done through the integrity contacts and all that. You have a group of independent external monitors to guide you on those things. Wonderful. You have an excellent vigilance setup, and which is ISO 9000 compliant, and you have chosen by the government to establish an integrity index. Somebody made a reference. IIM Ahmedabad, I believe, is working on that. So I congratulate you and wish you a clean governance here. But does it mean that there is no corruption in this organization? Can we say that? I'm afraid no. It's like any other organization in the society, because even with some improvement, as someone said, our Transparency International's index of perception of corruption in the public sector, it's not in the entire society. It talks only of the public sector, means governance. Is about 79 now. But that means out of about 170, he said. But absolute mean would be 85, I mean out of 170. But 79 onwards, they are all in the same group. So you are somewhere in the middle range, That means you are average in the entire world. But compare societies like New Zealand, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, of those countries, they are at the top, around 90, from the high, 100 marks, I am talking of the marks. So 100% marks means it's the highest, so they reach there. So why can't we reach there? Are the genes of the Norwegians or the Denmark people different from the genes of the Indians? I don't think so. They're just the same. It all depends on what type of systems you create, what type of discipline you follow. It depends on all those things. Now, you have asked me to talk about my vision of India, a corruption-free India. So I need to get away from NMDC, because NMDC is not India. It's an important part of India. But I have to generally talk about the governance, which the CMD made a reference, but he said being a government official, he would not like to talk. But I am a retired fellow, so I can talk, there is no problem. So, my vision of a free India, a corrupt-free India is, to me, corruption is a very demeaning thing, And a bribe taker or a voluntary bribe giver, a coercion somebody has to give, that is a different one. A bribe taker or a voluntary bribe giver can have no self-respect. Which man, taking money from the other, which is not his due, would have self-respect. That's why you find them hiding somewhere, meek, somewhere, they might show off in the presence of some people and all that. But I don't think he is a happy man, a corrupt man, And the person who is coerced to give bribes, he would curse you forever in his life. I mean, he may not say openly, but he would certainly be doing that. So, my vision is that a common man must live in dignity and should be in a position to carry on whatever is his avocation, business or profession. He may be a small street vendor or he may be a big businessman, but he should be able to carry on his business and profession without harassment or without coercion. And today, unfortunately, what is happening is everybody and almost everybody in authority wants to extract his pound of flesh. You go anywhere, I mean, he has to make something. Why is this? Because, I will come to that. Now, unless some illegal gratification is done, it has become a way of life, unfortunately. And everyone is trying to beat the system. Now, the CMD has made a point. You want to jump the gun. You want to jump the queue. Now, that is an indication. It starts from there. Now, people are standing in the queue to get a ration card or to buy a ticket. But you want to go and stand there in the front, you want to push these chaps and all that. This happens in every aspect of life in this country. You have to be the first man to get some benefit from the government. Your case has to be decided earlier than the other man's case, even though he is waiting, his file is pending for a long time. So you want to go and grease somebody's hand and say, "Bhai, mera file jaldi clear karo." So like this, jumping the gun, jumping the queue, and you have your own place, depending on when you started or what. Wait for it, you know. And two, respect the law. Somebody said, fear of law. No, you should not fear the law. You must respect the law. That is what is important, you know. Respect the law starts from what? From a traffic constable, you know, from a red light and onwards. I have seen people saying, "Arey constable nahi hai, abhi chalo, red light hai to bhi kya hai? Let's go." Well, it doesn't help. I mean, that becomes a habit, you know. And then you are jumping everywhere, the queue. So try to respect the law, you know. Don't try to bend the law and try to beat the system. You know, when I was in England, I had seen a particular, going to the office, there was this Her Majesty's Stationery Office, HMSO it is called. What they do is, they publish all the government books and they sell it from there. So when I was coming, I saw a huge queue of about 400, 500 people standing in line. You don't see queues in Western countries, you know. So I said, why are these people standing in the queue? Somebody said, a new law has come and ignorance of law is no excuse. So people must know the law, and that's why they are buying the books to find out what is their responsibility, what is their role, and then to find out how they can sort of comply with the law. I said, "Vare wah, India mein to aisa nahi hota hai." So in India, nobody goes to buy a law book, first of all, because he would have an excuse to say that I don't know the law. Even if he goes there, what he would do is, he would go and buy the book to find out where are the loopholes. Isme holes kahan hai, where I can sort of sail through without being caught. Now, I think if you don't have respect for the law, your character, you know, deteriorates like that. And another thing which I find is, he said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Absolutely right. It's said some 200 years ago, but still it is very true. And what is this power? You know, when you think you are you are privileged, you are special, you are somebody other than the other man. And this, I think this attitude, you see, we say we are in a modern society, but I don't think we are in a modern society. We are still in a feudalistic society. You know, everybody wants some special privilege or the other. Everybody is a VIP. He wants to be the front seat, you know, in the car. He wants the front seat in the aeroplane, and he wants his car to be taken right up to the tarmac, you know, to get into this. And then everywhere, you know, he has to be given priority. That goes into the head. This so-called security to the VIPs. Again, as somebody said, in America there are only 3 VIPs. The President of America, the Vice President of America, and the Chief Justice of America. But in India, somebody has said there are 1,45,000 VIPs. Now, what do you do with all these VIPs? You know, this VIP syndrome is the one which drives him. Once he thinks he is a VIP, he thinks he can do anything and get away with it. You know? So a small thing. These are all indicative, you know, of the mental attitude of these people. So I was telling, after Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, has stopped these red light cars, I saw somebody going, I keep watching that. On his car it is written municipal councillor. Array, there are 200 municipal councillors in the city, but he wants to be known as a municipal councillor, so he has to be given some importance, you know, somewhere. Yesterday, only yesterday, or day before, I addressed the vigilance, this one, of IDBI. I was going there. I showed the other man sitting there. Somebody had written on his car, former member of the parliament. He is no longer the member of the parliament, he is a former member of the parliament. But why he should write on the car, you know, to show that he is a former. He wants some privilege, some special this one. And he expects that privilege when he goes before a government officer for some case of his. He says, "Mera case pehle karo. Mera case mein special consideration karo." And the third reason why this happens is special cases, exceptional cases. There are rules laid down for everything, but everybody wants his case to be treated as a special case. You know, I am from the Maharashtra cadre. In Marathi they say, what is it called? Khas Bab. Khas Bab means a special case. So, why should you be given a special case? You know, you should stand in the queue and get whatever treatment the others are getting. So, I think these are all very important. Now, how do you solve them? Now, first of all, let me, since I mentioned what my aim is, do you think we can achieve it? I think we can achieve it. I think we can achieve it because somebody has said it was 90, our 90 or 95, our index, in the number, we were the 95th. We have come down to 79. So there is an improvement. And your ease of doing business again, they said 132, 100. No, it was 141 before, the year before. From 141, it has come to 100. So there is improvement. There is some improvement, but there is still a lot to be done, So that is the thing. Now, but how do you do this, I think it is not by just lectures alone. And it's not government alone. It is the civic society which has to play an extremely important role. Because what is important to control corruption is an ecosystem, an environment where integrity is praised, honesty is praised, honesty is given a value. I think that is what is to be done. I think civil societies have to play an extremely important role, and I'm glad you involved the children at this stage itself to come into this, because the civil society must open its mouth and talk about corruption going on wherever the scene is. Wherever privileges are being used like this, civil society must open its mouth and speak. That's why I make it a point. He said whether he would come for a small meeting. Even if there are 10 people, I would have come to speak. Because I think we must speak, on these things. So civil society should not keep quiet. They must keep on talking, writing about this, holding seminars, and then spread this particular message. So that is the importance of this Vigilance Week, So that ecosystem has to be built, and civil society must function as the protector of integrity, and a watchdog, and that is very important. Now,